Okay. Um, so besides the video that we're looking at this week, where we're looking at evaluating a video that's found, because we do not always have time to create our own pieces, and then looking at videos that are created by you, and either screencasting or creating with something, we're looking at creativity in the classroom. And so most of you have probably heard of Sir Ken Robinson. No?
Yes.
If you have not, it's a very inspirational video.
Creativity.
So for those of you that are shaking your head no,
Yes, yes.
yeah, I watched it probably back
Yes.
when it first came out. I think when it first came out, it was one of the very first things that I saw, and that's what kind of sparked my interest in getting into this whole thing. Because I never meant to teach at the college. I never meant to get a PhD. I didn't even really want my master's. I just wanted to have a class or two to teach me what I needed to do with my kids and if I was doing it right or if I was hurting them in the classroom with how I was using the computers. And then it slowly like, I need one more class. I need one more class. I'm just going to get my master's and then I'll stop. And then I was like, I'm applying for the PhD. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to quit Punxsutawney and I'm going to teach at a college. So, but that he was one of the things that really inspired me to look at how we use things in the classroom for educational purposes and how to really try and engage students in learning and the learning process and make them want to learn and not just have to do it for the assignment purposes. And I'm hoping that some of this sparks over to you guys too, that as you grow your community of learners online with the blogging and the posting of things and the creating different pieces, I'd like you to be able to think of this class as kind of a way to, you know, you want, as a teacher, as a professional, whenever you're doing trainings and things like that, you want to have new stuff that's really fun and engaging and really interesting, but you don't have time for it. You know, you're just keeping your neck above water and your nose above water, especially whenever they're changing your preps around and they're changing the trainings that you have to put forward and they're giving you more on your plate every day. So having this time to be able to really engage with the material as a part of a required class is almost, you know, like whenever your parents would sit you down at the table and do mandatory study hours whenever you were little. Maybe I'm the only one that had that, but this is a way to really push you to think about how to engage with this stuff in small bits throughout your work life in whatever context you happen to be at. So with creativity, do any of you have things that you feel really foster creativity within your classrooms, within your work environment, with anything that you're working on, with your students or with your coworkers or trainings that you're doing or anything like that? And how do you incorporate that into your work practices? Go.
How do we put our mic on? I don't know if anyone can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, so then I'll just jump in. Sorry. It's very interesting. I think you're referring to the school skill creativity, right? Is that the TED Talk? Yeah, right. When you said TED right away, that's awesome. So I'll tell you one example. Like, and it's hard in the classroom, like you said, time-wise, it's very tight. But when Obama was inaugurated as the first Black president, it was almost the same time as Martin Luther King Day. So I gave an assignment for Photoshop that, you know, create some kind of poster or abstract about I have a dream, and kind of have the two, you know, which is very interesting how at one time, you know, there was so much apartheid, and then now look at the equality. He's the president of the U.S. So it gave so much nice. Students, like you said, get more engaged when you give them something current and place where they could really flourish, and not just the same old copy paste circle, red circle, blue square kind of assignment. So yeah, that's my blurb there.
I always forget to unmute. How does anybody else incorporate creativity into your classroom in any or your work environment in any way, shape, or form?
One thing that I was kind of thinking of as I was going through this week's assignment, I started on it, you know, today is my snow day, but I do a lot with Screencastify, but I was kind of thinking that it's not very creative compared to like the animations and stuff like that. Normally it's me, you know, recording my desktop. So I was trying to think of ways that I could be more creative in my videos. Because like I said, Screencastify, is great, but especially working with younger students, I don't think it's, you know, as creative as what they kind of need in instruction.
Did any of you see the Flipgrid I dropped in?
Yeah, that was the first thing, right?
Yeah. Have you
Yep.
guys seen Flipgrid before?
Yeah.
A couple of you. Flipgrid's free. It's like a video discussion board. And so whenever you go in, you're going to create a video. You can play with each other's videos and talk back and forth. Microsoft took them over last year and made it free for everyone instead of having to pay for it. It won all kinds of awards last year and this year. Well, 2017, 2018, for this. So people use this then to really foster student responses, especially with young kids who are not really able sometimes to type out the responses onto the computer and they can speak it. You can turn on captioning. It does not caption very well for little children, I will tell you, especially if they have some speech issues or missing teeth. They tend to not capture their words very well. So I will tell you, use captions carefully because you get some really weird sentences with them. But people are using it for anything from kindergartners talking about what they did that day to advanced calculus, Calc 3 classes at the university here, where they're talking about, you know, this is a picture of the problem that they were working on, and this is the solution that I devised for it. This is why I used these steps, and this is how to explain it, almost like a verbal proof. People have been using it for like formative assessment, summative assessment kind of things, prompting discussions, just thinking about some of your, you know, areas that you're in that I can remember from the last time and from looking at posts. Problem solving, coming up with engineering and design solutions, keeping people on group projects that stretch across classes from one to the other. One person posts what they did, then they keep replying with what they've been working on. Class discussions. You can keep the answers private till everybody posts, and then you can release them so they can see and then discuss. So you really can use it to look at them. Yeah, you can use it on your phone, iPad, computer, any platform. It works. It's free for the teacher, free for the students. Occasionally, schools have video policy that are a little tighter, that have some problems with it. So do make sure that you can use it, or make sure your students are using it carefully. And then, in my opinion, I tended to always do it and then apologize later. But I could not, you know, give you that kind of recommendation as a professional that it might be a problem if you do things like that. But a lot of places, because it is so well spread across the nation right now. I mean, if you go on Twitter and look at Flipgrid, it's everywhere. And they're having like Twitter chats. I think they might have even had one tonight about the use of Flipgrid because they're at Florida, at the EdTech conference there. So, I mean, it's something that's really an interesting way to get students to respond, especially if they hate to write. Not that people should not write, but just to get a different way of having them respond. It's really pretty fantastic. And you said you've used it, Jenna?
No, I haven't actually used it, but I was by it. I was talking about it to my classes about the possibility of bringing it into the class. And some of my students that are in the band said that their band teacher uses it to have them record their practices. And they, you know, they have to post it to whatever platform it is. So in that way too, the other people that are in their little, like the win section or whatever, they can all view it and critique each other's performance and everything.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen people using it for that too. And I mean, Randy, I know you teach automotive repair, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you could videotape an engine and have them listening to it and then be like, okay, what's wrong? What would you check first? This is the, you know, how would you go about, you know, somebody calls you and has your phone out, because I've done this to the person that does my work on my car. All right, listen, can you hear that? Do I need to come in and see you? Is it just a car getting old? You know, so because you have people like me to deal with once you get out and have a real job, you know, those are the kind of things that you could even bring in with that very easily, to have them listen to it, look at something. I've seen it in science class where they've taken a picture of, you know, some bark and a pine cone, and you know, okay, what kind of pine is this? We've used it in the makerspace a lot to get student reflections. I mean, it's just, because it's free. Like when it was a paid app, I had trouble like saying, use the free one, it's okay. You can, you know, it does some nice things, but now that it's free, I'm like, oh, use it.
That's what I was gonna say, that I think it would be kind of neat to use in inquiry science. You know, you show the kids a phenomenon and have them discuss it, you know, through Flipgrid. I think that's a good application for that.
Definitely.
My 6th grade advisory class, we're turning it into a makerspace starting whenever we go back to school when the snow stops. And I really like the idea of using it for reflection. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I'll do the work, and then, oh, I gotta write about it. Oh no! But if they can just talk it, we're done.
I would suggest turning off stickers, at least at first.
Okay.
For the simple reason that our students used the stickers to the point where we couldn't even see the project they were supposed to be showing us. They had so many stickers and like little hats on them and mustaches on the bugs that they created and everything, that it was really difficult sometimes to see the actual product from that. But yeah, it's pretty incredible that it's, oh, and here's the nice thing. You can download all the videos. You can download a CSV spreadsheet that allows you to see who has posted, the time they posted, and who they responded to, and the number of views. So you can see if students are creating this community and talking back and forth. You can see if people are posting late or whatever. So it allows you to collect some data with it that can help with that too. And it allows the students to do something that's a little out of the box. And so it's a test that you could use it as an assessment that can really measure what they want to talk and tell you about it, and not just checking off A, B, C, D, or writing out a problem and getting the correct numerical answer or something like that on a test. So it does allow for a little bit of creativity then, and how they approach what they want to tell you and what they want to talk to you about. Now that I've talked a while, I do that. I hijack sometimes. So go ahead and just jump right in and say, hey, I want to say this. I have no problem with that. We're a whole community of learners. And I did not mean that to have a sarcastic tone there. All right. So how else do you put creativity into your classroom? Into your workspace?
Personally, I don't think I do it enough.
What?
I'm not very good at the I'm laryngitis right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not very good at incorporating creativity in my classroom. You know, the kids, they feel like they're above it, and so a lot of the projects that we do, especially sciences, a lot of like get together, talk as a group, and create. They don't really like to play that game very much. They feel like they're too old.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm hoping to, out of this class, to get some new ideas of how I could make it a little bit more relevant to them. Mostly teaching them the same stuff.
Yeah. How about anybody else? Anybody else have thoughts on it?
I just like to add something, not me, but my son, when he was in 4th grade, his teacher was amazing. Like what I liked is she put the creativity in a way that the children can express themselves. Like at the beginning of the year, it was like, you know, how the team flags, they'd have a flag for the Dodgers or LA Lakers. Sorry, I'm too California. But she gave them like a yellow little construction paper, and they get to stick on it any things they like, you know, he used to like to watch, what was it called, the robots, the things that they break robots are battle bots, and like he likes to do certain things. So you kind of put a piece of you in that creativity, which is nice to make it creative and make it personal in a way to the student. That makes them interested, and they feel like I know the teacher before me was saying, students are kind of in their little space. They get shy to kind of get out of that. So when they express it creatively and everyone hangs their flags there, it kind of makes it a little less intimidating for students.
Mm-hmm.
And of all ages, you'll be surprised, even college sometimes you need to get.
What I was amazed one time is that my college kids will do just about anything for stickers. Like, I was really surprised. It's scratch and sniff. They're like about like killing themselves to try and like do stuff. So even something really silly like that can sometimes really spark things for students. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add before I jump in with another question?
To piggyback off of Bushra, I think I said your name right. When I taught high school, I taught a leadership class, and one of their first projects was a group project. And they had to come up with like a name and a flag, like what she was talking about. And I had them write and record a song. And with them working as a group, they were a lot more willing to be creative. Because it was just like that first time pressure situation going on. And I mean, first day was kind of dead, but after that, like they were laughing, they're in the back rapping, they're getting their songs ready, they're painting their flags. So I would just encourage you to keep trying.
I think I have to laugh at the scratch and stickers because, like, I'm reading intervention now, but my kiddos look forward to Fridays because then they can get a new bookmark. And so I try to have like scratch and sniff books or the books that have like a reference to them. And so my students really want those bookmarks, and they all each other, what is your like, and what is your smell? I have a lot of creativity because I'm doing title intervention, and it's very competitive. And we have a program we have to stick to, and it's probably the most monotonous thing that I could be doing right now, but I'm appreciative for it because it actually opens up a lot of my extra time that I wouldn't have if I was in the classroom compared to what I was previously doing. My previous job was very high stress, and I was in an urban school district. And if you've ever stepped into an urban school before, then nod your head, oh, yep, I feel you. Wait. Know what I'm talking about. You're like, there's zero time for anything else. Like I'd leave at 5 p.m. plus I have a girl, so yeah, there was time. Yeah. So I love the fact that I can do title intervention and just look forward to these kids that want just a scratch and sniff mark.
That's one thing I was gonna say is I struggle with. I want them to be creative and I want to try new things, but they have to have guidelines. You know, I can't just say, you know, okay, you're gonna do this on Flipgrid and not give them, you know, exact guidelines. And so I think I struggle with where to draw that line to allow them enough creativity, but yet kind of rein them in a little bit so they don't get too wild and they still accomplish what I want them to accomplish.
You're teaching science, right?
Nope, I'm second grade, so I'm the
okay. You said about inquiry, so yeah.
Well, I have science too, but that's just one part of it.
Yeah. Rachel, I had second graders last year, and I had like pencil box sized STEM bins that my second graders loved because it was all tactile and they each had something different in them. And I think I created 2 complete sets of these STEM bins so that they only got them for 20 minutes. Like it was there was a 20-minute timer on the board. They could choose to share them with one other person if they wanted to, or they could have it to themselves. And it worked. And they knew that 20 minutes was STEM bin time only. At the end of those 20 minutes, that STEM bin was put away. The behavior in my classroom changed immensely over the course of the school year because of those STEM bins. They had, and a lot of the stuff was stuff that the school had anyway, but nobody was using it in a STEM centered focus. Like, I can't even think now. Like, like the shapes, like the different shapes that you have, like for math, they were in the STEM bins, but the kids were like flipping them up and building houses with them, not what you would normally think of for doing with math. So, yeah.
Cool, great idea.
I think too, a lot of times people think that being creative has to mean give them like 3 hours or 3 different days to build a project in the class or something like that. And it can be that, but another, and this is going into the next little bit of topic, which is just looking at assessment for it. Because how do you assess? You put creativity in your assessment. How do you build that into things to prompt students to do it, to go beyond like, this is the 6 things that you have to check off that have to be in your project to, you know, and then you get 100%. Well, if you're going for mastery, that's great, but how do you build in some space for creativity and for being, you know, different and expressing things different ways? So I've seen things done like this a lot of different ways. A lot of times when I build a rubric and I want to promote creativity, for example, if I have a 100-point assignment, then 95 points of it is all the content with it, and the extra 5 is being creative. And that could be simply going above and beyond for the students that are not artistic and not musical and not anything like that, you know, using really cool organizational strategies, or being willing to, you know, write a little extra, or, you know, just different ways of thinking through how they're doing it sometimes to get that little piece. And I say that's my discretion. It's my flexibility with it, and try to be fair in how we do that. Because otherwise, especially the really good students, will do just what they're supposed to do, and they'll do it perfectly. And then they don't want to take a step beyond, kind of like you were saying, others were saying before, because they don't want to do any more work than they have to do. And they definitely don't want to step outside of their I get good grades box and do something weird and have somebody like be, you know, looking at them funny. Another way I've seen it happen is that some assignments I've had, so that they had like the song or the art project or an infographic and things like that for the information. And this is the content that must be addressed in any way that you do this. You know, you write a poem, you write a song, you do a poster, you write me a paper. This is the content that has to be here. And then you get choice. Am I going to do a rap? Am I going to do this or that? You know, am I going to do a poster? And I taught the general chemistry for a lot of years, and the kids that were in there, I really didn't have super high expectations out of them the one year. And then I was kind of really schooled by them because I gave them this kind of assignment, and a couple of the boys that typically I had to say, do not burn this. You are not allowed to burn anything. You are not allowed to have a flame on your desk. You do not eat the blue rocks. That is copper sulfate. It is not good for your kidneys. Take them out of your mouth right now. They do not taste like blue raspberry. They taste like rocks. You know, that kind of thing with them continuously, and they wouldn't turn in homework or anything. And they wrote a beautiful song, brought in their entire band kit. So we had a guitar, a bass, and a drum kit sitting in my room. Played it for every single class, got out of their other classes and came in and played it for every single class. And they recorded it. They had, you know, it's on our school webpage for a while. So they really went above and beyond for that assignment, because I let them do something that they wanted to do out of the box. And then what I found, worrying about reining them in, and with second graders, I know it's a lot more like trying to herd cats than older kids, where it's, you know, trying to beat them into submission sometimes. I'm sorry. You could never really do that. That's a turn of phrase, but you might want to. But once they buy into what you want to do, then sometimes they're won over, and they may hate the subject. They may even hate you, but you know, if they'll buy into it, then you can really get them to do a lot of really cool things. What else do we have? Oh, I had 2 boys that did absolutely nothing all year long. 75 was passing in that class, and as long as they had a 76 and their parents weren't mad, they were fine with it. And we did videos for types of chemical reactions. And a combustion reaction is a type of chemical reaction. It's when you're burning something or exploding something, you know, and you have, they did a fantastic job on it. Their parents even helped them. They edited it. They went way more hours than they were supposed to do for the assignment, way above and beyond, but I couldn't show it to anyone because they built pipe bombs with their dad and blew them up in their backfield. And that's actually terroristic activity. And I had the state police who were across the road from the school come over and see me because here I had to take it down. I didn't even think about that because that's considered fostering terroristic activity, and it was not a good thing to do. So, and then I had to tell them that from then on. But they really put a lot of effort into it. They did it right, and they knew their content. So, setting really clear parameters on what you want them to have. It just can't be stuff. Allowing them a little bit of space for some creativity, and then allowing them to have choices, not necessarily huge choices or ones that are, going to take a lot of time in class, but just different ways of telling. And I found that a lot of times with little kids that I worked with, and then with a lot of my special needs students had trouble writing out their answers. And so giving them a way to record their answer versus having to write it or even speech to text really was beneficial for them. There's a couple apps. Does somebody else want to talk for a second? I'm going to find a couple apps and I'll drop them into this. If I can find it right now. That do really nice speech to text. Do you guys have something that'll capture that for you?
I use Google Docs on the tablet.
Really nice integration. Yeah. Google Docs has a super nice integration for it, as well as how does somebody else incorporate grading creativity or assessing creativity, or do you feel it should be? Talk about that while I find this.
The only other thing I was going to bring up is that I feel like I was really lucky because my introduction to why I wanted to bring a computer science curriculum to my students is because I was able to be trained in the STEM lab that my previous school had built into their school, and then they ended up not following through on it after the first year after they had put it together. I was so heartbroken, like it still just knife heart twist. But like every good teacher, I took notes, lots of good detailed notes. So I'm going to dig back into those notes that I took because like there's a lot of good programs within what they had built into that lab that are standalone programs that can be used with students. So I want to add those to the Padlet because I think everybody else in the class could look at them and really draw from them. I was thinking to the video assignment this week because one of the things that's within that lab is Animation-ish, which can be used. Look at, yep, nod your head. Yeah, you've heard of it, I know. And there's a few other things that are buried in there too. The lab was put together by Creative Learning Systems, and it's a really good lab. Like I said, it kills me that they're not using it. They're just so hyper-focused on math and ELA that they were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna, let it grow dust. So it just bums me out.
So I'm looking for it right now still. Not reading right because they make you pay for reading right now. But is it?
Then I'll just say one small thing while you're waiting for that. Like in creativity, it's kind of dangerous that if you make it too open, they get a little confused or they get off topic. So it's good. What I try to do is give like 1, 2, 3, 4 options. And if the seem up to it, I would say you can add something else if you want. But if they specific choices, you could get with those and a little bit more and okay, design us something, So yeah, that helps a lot.
Good advice. I appreciate that.
This only works on Chrome, the one I want to show you. It's called where's it at now? It's called Voice Note 2, but it's only available on Chrome. And my computer keyboard does not cooperate anymore. I'm on my 5th keyboard of the year. I am on a plugin with my Mac now, and it doesn't let me copy and paste. No problem, Brittany. Glad you can make it. So that should give you voice note, speech to text. It only works on Chrome, but you can put a Chrome browser on anything. So it'll work on a Chromebook, a Mac, whatever. And I'm going to try, and I think I can share this to you. Yeah, there we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a free writing tool, and if you click on the little microphone over here, you're going to select the language, which I always forget to do. I wish I would read it to you because I want to put on there like Australia or New Zealand or something and see what they give me differently, but it doesn't. Just like on your GPS, you know, you can set it for somebody. Okay, so you click on the microphone and you allow it. Period. And then whenever the students talk, this is really a good way for the students to pick up voice to text. Period. It works really well in comparison to most of them. Period. Google Docs will allow you to do this as well, really easily. Period. The thing that we found with this, whenever we were playing around with it, is that it really contextualized the words pretty well. Period. One of the kids was even saying about working with the Renaissance period. Period. Then they have to come in and edit. You know, I have to put my period in, turn off my thing, put my period in here. I can use Grammarly on it, which if you incorporate Grammarly into your Chrome browser, it allows you to do that too. I said and then, and they picked it up as 11. It's not perfect, but it is pretty good. If your school allows you to use Google Docs, it works just about as well. The other one, other ones, if you don't have Google Docs available, this is pretty nice because you can export it, you can copy it, save it, and it'll do that for you. So it's one that I do like for something like that, and it allows little kids to tell stories really well.
How does it work in a classroom with like multiple students using it at a time? Does it tend to pick up the background noise, or?
It picks up a little bit of the background noise, but if you get them using a headphone or you get them sitting pretty closely, it really captures it well. If you can have them spread out across the classroom so they're a couple feet between them, it seems to do fairly well with even the Google Docs picking it up. They've been, the iterations on Google Docs since they started incorporating this have really made it nice. But that's another thing. Anybody else have anything else they use for that? I mean, I gave you a lot of video resources this week, but okay. Any questions about or ideas about creativity, about assessing creativity, about ways to put it into your classroom, about ways to build upon it?
One of the things that I had an instructor suggest when I did my undergrad work is that give students a choice board, like a tic-tac-toe style choice board. And so that way, one of the assignments was always one of them that you wanted completed. And so that way, like it could be the center square was the one that you as the teacher wanted completed, and then the other two were the ones that the students would think were the fun assignments. And then no matter what, that third assignment was the one that like you wanted completed. And then you can limit it. I mean, you can make that tic-tac-toe style board as big or small as you wanted, but then that center square is always the one that you wanted completed. So whether it's, you know, 3x3 or 4x4, depending on the grade level of the students that you're working with, then they always have the fun assignments that they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do these ones for sure. But then they've always got that one assignment that they have to come back to. That is the assignment that is like, okay, this is the one I have to do. That is like, you as the teacher are really honing in on, do they understand what I want them to do? And then they've got the other ones that are like, okay, these are super fun and I want to do these. Like make up a dance to go with the assignment, or make up a video, or do a play with a classmate, you know, whatever it may be. And taking that back to the classroom, when, you know, I actually started teaching, I always thought of that as giving students that option. It is kind of more that fun, how do I assess whether or not my students got it?
Yeah. I know a lot of people have to have a rubric for every assignment that they give in a lot of the schools. And so that's one reason I always, you know, say, you know, with the rubric piece that you're working with, if you add that little bit for the creativity, you know, the criteria can stay the same too, no matter, like you said, whichever pieces they're picking for that. And I've seen also people having like a checkerboard kind of thing that they use for a grading period, or like every month. So like in the month of February, you're going to have 4 big assignments in different classes. You know, here are 6 choices, and then you have to do a different kind of assignment for each one. So maybe one's an essay, one's a poster, one's something else. So they have different products that they're expected to do, and they can't pick the same one more than once or same one more than twice. And that way it kind of pushes kids outside of their zone, and they can kind of say, I really understand this content well, I'm going to write a paper on it. I don't know that I understand this quite as well, I'm going to do the easy one and make a poster, but then they still have to have the same criteria, so then it kind of pushes them for that too. Yeah. Diagramming it, things like that, teaches them different pieces of it in different ways. So those are other ways I've seen it happen. Do you guys want to see a really cool math thing for those of you that have to do anything with math? Okay, the rest of you can leave. This is one I just found. I gotta find it and get it up here. It's on Chrome, it's in Google. You're using, oh shoot, hold on, let me share my screen to you. This, I teach the undergraduates the ed tech piece in the elementary program, and we do it workshop style. And so I have a little site that we use for them, but it is under math. Okay, it's called Equate.io, and it runs out of your Google Drive once you've added it as an extension, or you add the website. And this kind of goes along with the other one we were talking about a little bit, in that it does use a voice command and a microphone. All right, so the math one right here is this little triangle at the top. It's Equate.io. I have read write turned on too, but they want you to pay now, so I have to disable that one. Okay, so this is Equate.io. You can see the thing across the bottom where the numbers and everything are. All right, so I'm going to click on my microphone. All right, so think about all the worksheets that you've ever had to make. (3x plus 2y equals 7). So you can see this right here. And I am going to put it onto my Google Doc. It's now in there as an image that I can take the file and I can use it in something else. I can copy and paste it into a Google form for a quiz. I can download this as a worksheet. There's the beauty. How many times do you have to make questions and worksheets for students, and you need them to either graph something or write the equation for it, or look at a number, 1 + 2 = 3, whatever, and you're trying to do the text editing, especially in Google Docs, and it doesn't want to work very nicely? Here's the other thing you can do. if I come into here and I go to edit, so let's make it a -5. What did that do to it? Maybe I can't do that. Let's make this 5y. Let's make this 8y. Let's make this minus instead of, oops. And it does all those things for you, and it will do advanced math functions if you are in a place where you need to do advanced math functions. It'll do handwriting recognition as well, so if you're using it and you want it to do handwriting, doesn't let you have very many for free, but I could do like on a tablet.
Much easier than equation editor in Microsoft Word, right?
It's so much easier
Wow.
than equation editor, and it's so much easier than like using LaTeX. I mean, it's crazy how kind of cool this stuff will do. There's my equation now. It didn't read it very well because I didn't realize I was adding it to the same equation. But it lets you play with that, and it drops it right into Google Docs for you, and you can print that right out. So anyway, that's one fun one that I just found. Yeah, I can send you guys my whole page if you want. My other very favorite one off of here, which doesn't go with this week at all, is Rewordify. Rewordify lets you differentiate reading levels for any text that you want to copy and paste into it or classic text. You want to see that one too before you go? Since I got you all captive. Okay, so Rewordify is just a regular site. Everything I give you for the most part is free because I was a teacher and you cannot pay for things for your students as much as you may want to. Rewordify is an English site. Looks like this. It's really plain simple formatting. It was made by a teacher, and I'm going to use classic literature, but you can copy and paste anything into here. The only thing I do not like is it will not let you pick your own vocabulary words, but it will let you limit the number you have. If you make a class, you can track everything the student does in here, how long they're on the page, the words they click on for definitions, what settings they happen to use for it. See, it says reading time even. Okay, so Mark Twain, chapter 1. Okay, so now instead of saying the name of the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, it says the Fun Trips. Because up here in my settings, I've clicked reword the hard words already. But maybe I want to do it this way. The Adventures, Fun Trips of Tom Sawyer. Stretchers is wrong, just for the definition. Me and Tom found the money that robbers, people who steal things, a piece each. And it has all the words reworded for you in here. You can also do it as 2 columns, or you can have just the words over here in the output on this side with the vocab. As a teacher, whoops, I knocked my keyboard over here. There's my stats on the whatever stuff I dropped in. So any of you that need read scores, Fleisch, Kincaid, Lexile density, any of that kind of stuff, it's there. And you can share it to your class. You can capture all the data on it, and you can do this. Word bank quiz, generate answer, print. There we go. Here's my words. Here's my vocabulary. But they pick the words for you. So as long as you're okay with that, it's great. Let me cancel out of here. They'll do like words close activities. You can pick different levels so you have less words. So then they'll give maybe a matching. Makes only the hard words. You can put anything in here you want. Because if I go to home, I could copy in the text that we used before, rewordify it, and if I do settings, We can close. Any of the text that they have in here that is coming up with it, they would highlight it for you. So I would have to change my settings to get more words to show up. But this is the other thing I like. Comparison. Oh, comparison. Active examining resemblances. I don't know what resemblance is. Okay, pretending. It'll let you drill down through the definition, and it captures that for you, which is really nice. Last thing, parts of speech. I will say sometimes they're wrong, but when they're wrong, it's also a teachable moment, because you can say, I think that there's 3 words in here that are wrong. They didn't color them, you know, red, and they should have been colored red. What do you think? Where do you see those words are? You know, and then you can have a discussion if they pick something that's not right or something that is right, you know. So anyway, that's another favorite site I have, especially since it's free. But okay, so anything else you want to ask about, talk about, anything like that? If not, you guys can all click the button at the bottom right-hand corner, and you can head on out for your nice night. Stay warm and stay safe if you are up here in the nice, beautiful, snowy Michigan. I know some of you are not, so.
Yeah, it's 80 in California. My sister just told me, so let's not go there.
Yeah. Well, there's somebody class that's in Atlanta too, and they are actually getting snow. Not like we are up here, but for Atlanta they're getting snow, and that's like got everything shut down the whole way across the state. So
I'm pretty sure Michigan has a closed stamp on it right now.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania actually is colder tonight than it is here, and they were not supposed to be cold. It was supposed to be this year, but they got some Arctic blast in western Pennsylvania from the lake effect stuff, and it was like -7 and it was 2 here. So I was like, okay.
They can have the rest of the lake effect stuff, and it's not going to hurt my feelings at all. So
I actually used to work at Punxsutawney, home of groundhog, you know, Punxsy Phil, which is on Saturday. So they're going crazy with the weather predictions right now. So they're expecting
Wow.
25,000 people in the town. The town usually has like 4,000. 25,000 for the weekend are coming in for it, and it's supposed to go from 5 inches of snow last night and -degree temperatures all week. And then Thursday and Friday, it's supposed to rain. So it's going to be a royal mess. And yes, thank you, Cheyenne, for helping Brittany.
But for me, second year in Michigan, I'm enjoying the snow. I'm like, there's 4 seasons. It's not summer all year, so I'm trying to find the positive side.
I think it was the snow that held me up today, you guys. I'm so sorry for being late.
Not a problem.
I got home just fine last time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was acting up. Yeah.
Okay, so then you guys have a really nice night. If anybody has any more questions or wants to talk to me individually, hang on. Once people start leaving, we can talk. We can figure out anything that you need to figure out, or you can email me and say, you know, tomorrow I don't have school, so 2 o'clock in the afternoon, do you have anything going on? I don't now because school's canceled here, so. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for showing up. It was great.
All right, good night. Thank you so much. Have a
good night.